Page from the last game to the upcoming opponent, and like I said yesterday, excited, about this week, and need to have a great day of prep today and stack days, meetings, practices, and give ourselves the best chance Saturday. So play 1 to 150. We can play our best. So playing a great football team. A lot of great players across the board, dominant, really haven't been challenged this year. I guess you could say Texas, who scored a touchdown with 3 minutes to go to make it 14-7. And Michigan got off to a good start, but then, Ohio State took control. So, other than the Texas game, they've got 3 18-point wins, their closest games, but in all those games they were in complete control. Questions?
Niz on your left and Zach.
Yeah, Curt, you mentioned Ohio State's defense being a little different than it was last year. Obviously, Patricia. What did you see when you kind of watched a little more film the last 24 hours? What are those differences, or what are the key differences you saw?
Yeah.
Chip Hills?
Yeah, and still kind of learning them as we speak. More looks in the secondary for sure, more coverages, a few more different kinds of pressures. And it's a different defense, and they're good. That's why they're number one in the country. Least amount of points, least amount of yards, red area defense, great on third down, fourth down, 30 sacks, give up 70 yards rushing the game, 130 passing. And they're dominant on offense, obviously. Quarterback's playing great. They got big time weapons on the outside, and the tight end too, Claire, is a weapon. And the running backs have gotten better every week and had big days last week against Michigan. Special teams are really good. And if you all remember, the special teams was a big part of our downfall last year in that game. So our special teams, aside from that game, were excellent last year. And they've been very good this year. So they're going to need to be real good Saturday.
Zach on your left and Ravi.
Curt, you've talked about, just over the last 2 years, the extent to which you've been on yourself, you've worked your way up through coaching. On Friday night, Fernando said, I think he said it was Pat Coogan who kind of delivered this message post-game, or maybe it was pregame, forgive me, that your team is made up of guys that he called like misfits, guys that maybe had been rejected somewhere else, and had to kind of fight for this opportunity. Do you think there is a kinship between sort of your experience and the experience of some of the guys on your roster in terms of what motivates these players, both individually and collectively, especially in a game like this where you're playing a program that has got all of the sort of, I don't know, whatever word you want to use that a program like Ohio State's going to have?
I think maybe to some degree that was the case last year. Where you had a number of guys that followed me that had something to prove, and a number of other transfers that had joined, some of them from the G5 level. That was, I think, Pat Coogan's angle to kind of get everybody fired up. I don't view our team as a bunch of misfits at all. We got a lot of good football players that have proven themselves. Collegiately, they have high character, high intelligence, work hard, and there's a lot of people in the country who love to have a lot of our guys. I promise you that. But I do give Pat credit for finding an angle to kind of get everybody juiced. Pat's probably got a little Notre Dame in him still, so maybe from his perspective, we are misfits. That's a joke. No, Pat Coogan's been a key addition to the team. He's one of our great leaders. So we recognize the challenge. We respect Ohio State. Not pleased with really the way we played last year. We went there, our first real big test on a national level. We've talked through that yesterday. Things that happened in that game. But this is a different team.
Ravi on your left and Pete.
Yeah, Coach, defense throughout the whole season has been pretty dominant, top five in pretty much whatever category you look at. I was just curious your thoughts on why it's played at that level, pretty much sustained it through 13 regular season games.
The only way I can really answer that question, to be quite honest with you, is since our first year at JMU in 19, we're philosophically, we wanted to create TFL sacks and be great against the run and create havoc. That we have played great defense every year since 19. And there's a pride and tradition about playing defense here that we carried over to Indiana. And it's all about people. It's the program philosophy, but then you got to look at the leader of the defense, Bryant Haynes, who I think is an excellent football coach, tactician, linebacker coach, game day coach. And then you got to look at the guys playing defense for us. The Fishers, the Pawns, Bones, Jones, Hardy, Tucker, Daly, guys that are really playing really, really well. Our safeties are playing well. I mean, they're all, there's room for improvement, trust me. But there's a pride about playing defense. And those guys carried on in the field.
Peter on your left and Joe.
Yeah, Curt, you mentioned yesterday about maybe Ohio State pulling back a little bit offensively, which Ryan Day sort of confirmed a little bit, but I'm sure all teams do it. How do you prepare for the unknown, and you can talk a little bit about the way you and your staff make in-game adjustments?
Well, I think when you get to this point in the year, you've seen almost everything, right? I mean, there's a lot of plays out there that we could run that we haven't run, and I'm sure that they could run that they haven't run. But we've got 12 games on them, they've got 12 games on us. And, we know their personnel pretty well, and they know our personnel pretty well. And so we've got an idea how we think they'll attack us. I'm sure they have an idea how they think we'll attack them. And you put your best plan together, to put your guys in position to make plays, and then got to execute it. And the thing about college football today with the pads on the sideline, you can see exactly what went on the series before. There's no gray area. In the old days, you used to get communication from guys on the bench and then come in Sunday and half of it was wrong. There is no gray area anymore. So you can make quicker adjustments now than you could in the past. And it's made the game better.
Joe on your left and Daniel.
What stands out about Julian Saying this season and how your defense can kind of fluster him considering he's only started a dozen games for Ohio State?
Yeah, he's played with a lot of poise. He doesn't look like a guy that's in his first year as a starter. He looks like he sees the field very well, throws the ball on rhythm. He can really rip it. He's got a tight release, a lot of velocity on the ball, very accurate, and they've done a nice job protecting him. And obviously he's got great weapons to throw to. And I think a little bit like us, they don't put the ball in his hand and say, win the game. They're balanced. They want to run the football and throw the football, both, as do we. And that takes some pressure off the quarterback. Whereas some teams are a little bit more into points, stats, whatever, want to throw the ball more. Neither of these two teams do that.
Daniel in front and Zach B.
On that Zoom, I think you said that last year's team, playing Ohio State, just wasn't ready, like in that moment on that stage. Why have you guys just kind of met the moment each time it's arrived throughout the fall, and why are you confident you guys can meet that moment, that stage on Saturday night?
Yeah, well, my comment was looking back, a year ago. Objectively speaking, you would have to say that it became too big for us at some point in the second quarter and into the third. And we're going to find out Saturday how ready we are. What I can tell you about this football team is we've met every challenge up to this point because we prepare consistently, the way you need to prepare, and put it on the field. And all three phases have been very consistent. And that's what it's going to take this week. detailed preparation, commit to the preparation, eliminate the noise and the clutter. Put yourself in the best position to play your best on Saturday, individually and collectively. And it's my job to make sure that happens, and the assistant coaches. And with that done, 5 days from now, our guys will walk on the field with confidence that they will get the job done.
Zach, on your right, and Sammy.
Last year, you said depth in the trenches was the biggest difference between your team and teams like Ohio State. How far along do you think you guys have come, specifically in those two areas, as far as depth and in the trenches is concerned, to battle and match up with Ohio State?
Yeah, and some of the issue was frontline players too, not just depth. But depth helps because now you can rush your frontline players. We're probably a little deeper on the offensive line than we were last year. I can't say the same thing about our defensive line in terms of our depth. We had pretty good depth last year on the defensive line, but we're getting good production from the guys that are playing. So, I think when we went to Oregon, what we were able to do up front defensively was vital to us being successful in winning that football game, especially in the second. We dominated up front on defense. And we're going to need an outstanding game from our guys this Saturday.
Sammy, on your right, and Tom.
Coach, Saturday and all week really is going to be a big showcase for your program. In the state, Ohio State, and you guys go for a lot of the same prospects, both in the portal and in high school. What kind of messaging do you want to send out to these prospects who might be choosing between the two schools to say like what you're about?
Yeah. Well, from our perspective, we're just getting ready to play a football game. So I don't think about it like that. But I will answer your question. I'd like to think we're at the level of Ohio State in terms of recruiting, but we're not right now. Ohio State's in a league of their own for a lot of different reasons. And a big part of it is their tradition, their winning history, and all the national championships they've won. And the money that they've put into the program over a long, extended period of time. Are we closing that gap? Yeah, I think we're closing that gap. And what would a successful performance do on Saturday? Well, it would do a lot, a whole lot. There's a lot of talk about the college football calendar right now. Well, we're getting ready to play the Big Ten championship game. Wednesday's the early signing period for the high school guys. Fortunately, they're all committed, and our recruiting department can handle most of that. And coaches can focus on their preparation. And, I won't even get into the portal part of it. But there's no question there'll be a lot of eyes on this game. It's a great matchup. And I'm confident that we'll respond the right way.
Tom, on your right, and Nicole.
Curt, one of the things that comes up when you're dealing with games after game and such, but how much is it underlooked, maybe underappreciated, just the individual player development that goes on here with guys getting better and better every week, and how much your coaching staff, really from top to bottom, has been a big part of that really in these last 2 years?
It's huge. Building a program and being successful used to be all about recruiting and development. Now you add retention to the mix. But development is what it's all about. Because there's a lot of good football players out there. There aren't many great, unusual players out there, right? Ohio State's got a few of those. And we got some really good players. But the development piece and what you do with them in the weight room and the off-season program, both in the winter and the summer, your philosophy, offense, defense, special teams, the intangibles you create on your football team, the things you put in their head, the messaging, how you practice. Can you keep them healthy? Do you have a good culture? Do they like it here? Do they like each other? Do you have good leadership? That's all part of development. And I think we've excelled in those areas. When I first took over as a head coach, I was fortunate that, I mean, we turned the program around right away. But I was able to make some mistakes at that level, year 1, year 2, year 3, and learn from them. So that by year 6, year 5, I was kind of like, I'd hit my stride. But you know, we're always working to improve what we do organizationally. And I think the organizational discipline that we have is really important here. That everybody's on the same page, everybody's thinking alike, and you know, that's what it takes when you're the CEO of a program, football program, P4. Bottom line is, you gotta change the way people think, and as the leader, you gotta get everybody to think alike and buy into the team vision, and you know, sacrifice, put personal goals sort of aside for the betterment of the team, because when the team's successful, everybody benefits. More all-conference, more all-American, more NFL draft choices, etc. And so development is huge, and I give our assistant coaches a ton of credit for that. Coach Haynes, Coach Shanahan, Grant Kane, Coach Bostad, Derek Goings, every single position coach. You know, we got great people upstairs, and we have great people in that locker room.
You touched upon it a bit in your opening statement. Ohio State hasn't really been challenged much this season. You guys have had those moments where you've been battle tested. How could that be an asset going into Saturday?
Well, we've been in some close games, and down to the wire games. And you know, when you're successful in those kind of situations, it can only add to your confidence and belief that the next time you're in one, you're going to make it happen because you have in the past.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.